Hello, and welcome to the podcast, Down There. I'm your host, Laura McKegg. My mission is to educate, inspire, and empower others to discover that pelvic health and wellness is important, that it doesn't have to be embarrassing or intimidating, and that it can actually be fun to learn about. So let's have some fun learning today. On to the show. This episode of Down There is brought to you by Laura McKegg Physical Therapy, where we help men and women find real solutions to leakage, pain, or other problems down there. Let us help you regain your dignity, stay fit and active, and enjoy your family time, social life, and intimate relationships again. Find us at www.lauramckeggpt.com. Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the podcast Down There. I am Laura McKegg, pelvic floor physical therapist, and I am your host, and I have a very special guest with me today. I have one of my former clients here, and she's here. She is a mother of two. I will let her tell her story, and the reason she is one of my very special guests is that she wants to share her story. I know I get a lot of questions about, well, what do you do as a pelvic floor therapist? What's a session really like? Well, this wonderful lady is willing to share that and just wants to spread that message of how this can help other women. So, Mrs. Wonderful Client, thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. It's Friday.
It is Friday. Yay. We're both very excited. So tell me a little bit about yourself, whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I have, let's see, I've been married on 9 years. I have a 5.5-year-old and I have an 8-month-old. Literally just turned 8 months. Both were born via C-section. Both were not like health traumatic reasons, but there were some emotional and there were some health issues around both of those births. Not on the babies, all on me, and definitely some emotional issues as well. So it definitely required a lot of different layers of healing, emotional and physical.
Would you say that the emotional and the physical were tied into your getting recovery and healing?
Yeah, I think there is some definite connection between, and I'm a huge believer in that anyway, the whole mental, physical health connection. But yeah, there is definitely in that case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about before you came to see me, like way before, after your first childbirth. Did you go to any pelvic floor physical therapist for that?
No, not after my first one.
Okay. Any reason why not? Did you know about it?
No idea.
Okay.
Actually, I kind of take that back. A person I know had to go to a special therapist after her birth, and she didn't want to talk about it.
And what did you think about that?
Cool. Yeah, I'm like, I'm glad you're reaching out. I really, I had no idea. Now, I guess I could put the 2 and 2 together, but I really didn't give it much thought. Besides, she needed something extra, but she had a vaginal birth. I didn't.
Okay.
So I didn't think, I was busy with the newborn. I didn't think much of it at all. And I really hadn't thought much of it until I met you.
Okay. So what changed your mind?
What made me want to?
Yeah.
I think education.
Okay.
Just really learning about how important those muscles are. And, I'm a big believer of, I'll spend my money on good shoes because my shoes hold my entire body up. Why wouldn't I think about the muscle group that does the same thing for my entire body? So, that's the way I guess I would view it.
Right.
Yeah, so the concept made more sense then. And, you know, having multiple pregnancies, being 35 with the second, or 34, I guess, at the time. But, you know, it just made me realize it was probably a good idea to at least explore it and make sure my scar was healing. I think that was the other thing I would say is you go to the post checkup appointment, and I was lucky my midwife was really good with me and I had multiple, but yep, the scar looks good. Your abs look like they're coming together. High five, you can do whatever you want now. And I am just a worrywart, and I wanted to make sure that it was not just like to doctor standards okay, but it was all really okay.
Right.
And that my scar was healing the right way, and that everything functioned as it should, that I was back to me. You know, owning my body again is important to me.
Yes. And that's really good that you came in fairly early. And I don't know if I shared this a whole lot, but that kind of goes with my story. That I had the very same thing. I didn't have any C-sections, but after my 6-week check, you know, and this was 25 years ago. Hey, everything looks good. You know, you look like you're doing fine. You can go ahead and resume your normal activities. And so I did, not having any idea about pelvic floor physical therapy, having had pelvic floor issues before I was pregnant and not knowing you could do anything about it. And then 20 some years later, it sneaks up on me as a different type of pelvic floor issues that I kind of now have to deal with for the rest of my life. So, you know, nothing horrible, but I have to deal with it for the rest of my life. And if I can help even one person avoid that, that makes it all worth it. So yeah, it is very, very important, because sometimes you really don't know, am I really okay? I look okay on the outside, but am I really okay on the inside? Is my body really healing well? So I met you after your son was born, your second son was born, and you decided, hey, like you said, good time to get this checked out, see how things are like. Do you want to kind of walk people through what was it like? I get that question. What was it like coming in to see one of these pelvic floor therapists?
So scary. So many big, scary metal tools. Kidding.
Not.
Totally a joke. She literally has a stuffed uterus, or is it a stuffed bladder?
It's a stuffed bladder.
She has a stuffed bladder.
And I've added, did you see I added 2 people to my family?
No.
Yes.
For studies.
I have a plush colon, and I just added a plush prostate. Because I treat men as well as women, and I didn't want the guys to feel left out. So I will have a plush stuffed uterus in the near future. Christmas is coming up, so there you go.
I've always been wanting a stuffed uterus for Christmas. No, I'm done being pregnant. Anyway,
We're having fun today.
To go into Laura's office, she's got essential oils going. She's got beautiful decor on the wall that's really just spa-like. Honestly, I'd say it's very akin to walking into a spa or going into a massage room, thinking you're going to get like a facial or something like that. Like, the room itself is very pretty. It doesn't feel medical. It doesn't feel sterile, but it does feel clean. That is important to me.
And it is very clean.
You know, the I wouldn't say bed, yeah, I guess it's a massage bed.
It's a massage table.
It's a massage table. It's got a warming thing on it, so it's nice and cozy. She's got nice blankets. So it just feels cozy when you have that time out there. But first of all, you talk to Laura for a while, and you tell Laura kind of what is going well, what's not going well, what your concerns are. She makes you breathe in weird ways to check and see what's working, what's not. She watches the way you do certain movements, which it just helps her get a better idea on the outside, looking in, what it's going to be like. And then she gives you your space. You dress down from, you take off your bottom half of your clothes, I mean, if you're like me and you were pregnant, you've done that many, many a times and it's no big woo. But then you get under the sheets and she checks the outside. Me having a C-section, she spent a lot of time massaging my scar because making sure my scar's tissue, because I did not know, fun fact, your scar tissue is pliable for 2 years post surgery. And so if you can continue to work it, you can make it not as restricting as it could be. And so I do that after showers now. Or if I get bored, I play with my belly. Yeah, it sounds weird. But anyway, she spent some time doing that, showing me where the scars were, showing me kind of some different techniques. She checked my breathing, checked my diaphragm, because your diaphragm moves when you are pregnant. And this is all stuff she explained to me. And so I'm just regurgitating what she told me. And then after checking the outside, she checks the inside. And like, I can't say that it's super comfortable to have someone have their finger in you for, 10 minutes or whatever. Like, that's not normal. But also the dentist, you don't have your mouth open like that with tubes in and out of it for 10 minutes either. And you go to the dentist twice a year. So what's the difference? She wears a glove and she uses lube. And
Without parabens.
Ooh, healthy lube.
Yes, healthy lube.
Healthy
Yes.
lube. She uses healthy lube. And she feels around a bit, to be honest. Much more than I've ever felt around here. It is way more comfortable than the OB's office. I will 100% say that. There are no metal tools that look like duckbills.
No.
There's no pushing hard or anything like that.
May I ask you, did it hurt?
No. I mean, parts of when you could hit some scar tissue might feel, I wouldn't even say uncomfortable, but you could feel it, but it never hurt.
That's one question I get asked.
Yeah, I know.
From people, is it going to hurt to do this?
It's like, I don't know I would compare it to. I mean, she's just moving, she's kind of gently massaging the inside of your, I don't know, not cervix, but below there, below there. And I'm like, not that far up. But she's massaging, feeling around. And it's also, I feel like, educational for you. And, like, you learn a lot of, okay, hey, here's this thing. And she can explain how it affects, like, your peeing, your sex life, and everything like that. And so that was really helpful. And then she tests the strength of your pelvic floor, which was interesting to me, honestly. Like, and then she taught me how to engage it while breathing out, which I love deep breaths. So another excuse to breathe out and take a good deep breath was a nice thing for me. And then, so after the testing the pelvic floor, then she taught me how to really breathe and work it and how to do the exercises. And then that was really it. We did talk about how I like to do some yoga and talked about how I can do those exercises as well in certain yoga positions. And that was really helpful as well.
All right.
Yeah. We talked about fitness a little bit and again, how to engage it when I was doing like floor work at my workouts.
Right.
But I mean, how to do them at stoplights and, everyone's like, oh, Kegels, but it's not Kegels or Kegels or whatever you want to call it.
Way more than Kegels.
It's way more than that. Like it's more of a breathing exercise than anything. Like when you have to think about the muscle group and it feels completely different than just a quick, like, this is what I think Kegels are. Cause also you've never really been taught what they probably should be anyway. But that was honestly the best description I can give of it. I think it was really educational, comforting for me. I would say I'm slight hypochondriac, worrywart. So just knowing like, hey, your scar tissue, pretty okay. Here's how you can keep it in check, but it's not bad at all. B, your pelvic floor muscles are improving. That was awesome. So having not just one appointment, but two to say, hey, I went from a 2 to a 2 to a 3
Almost
minus,
to 3, yeah.
something like that.
In 2 visits, that's
Yeah.
really good.
So just knowing I'm improving and then working on that, that was good for me. I think that really helped me mentally just kind of check the box of my body is healing and I can go, I'm moving closer to owning my body again and, being wholly me, and I'm all done having children.
Yeah. Do you feel it helped you be more in control over how your body recovers after childbirth? You got a few tools in the toolbox.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, yeah, I think you don't have control of that, especially with a C-section. And so doing things, like one thing I wish I would have done earlier is I wish I would have planned for this, like knowing because when I got pregnant, when I was pretty pregnant, I made sure I had the belly banded for, to pull my abs in after the C-section, which was amazing. Huge advocate for that post C-section, just because it helps you move around and holds that scar in place. That brand or any binder would, huge fan of that myself. But like I knew to buy that, and I wish that I knew when I was buying that or doing kind of the prep stuff to go to the hospital that this was on my prep list. Just knowing, hey, you should do this however many months out, is a good way to just get yourself back.
Right. I wish that every woman could come in for at least one checkup. It's like you go to the doctor for a checkup.
Yeah.
To come to a pelvic floor therapist, because question for you, who else has actually touched and assessed those pelvic floor muscles that you have? Has anyone done that?
Touching, I'm guessing I would say my midwife has touched them, or my previous OB has touched them. I think I remember them saying, and give it a squeeze in one of my exams.
And what does that mean?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's, and I've had one OB told me my uterus was a nice shape. Okay. Like that's it. So, it's not heavily talked about, but like, it seems like guys have more prostate conversations than women have pelvic floor conversations, and men have pelvic floors too, but I don't feel like it's something that they talk about much at the doctor's office. They're just happy that you've had the baby and you're alive.
Right. And that's not faulting them.
No.
And that's not meaning that they're being negligent or they want to ignore it. That is often not a big part of their training. But what's great is to be able to work, say, with a midwife like yours or with a doctor, because they are the experts in, making sure that your body's able to hold that child, making sure you're able to have a safe childbirth. And then, in the healing process, then a pelvic floor therapist is often that expert in, hey, what's the tone of the muscles supposed to be? How are these muscles working with the rest of your body? Because the pelvic floor is actually a part of the core. And so, how can we get these movements working, and how can we get that area working much better than it is now, especially if you're having trouble with leaking, after childbirth, pain with sex after childbirth, that belly gap that some people get after childbirth, within the first 3 months.
What's the belly gap called?
Diastasis rectus.
I cannot say that. You could pay me $100 and I couldn't figure out how to say that word.
That's why I say belly gap.
But I will say the other reason why I wanted to come is a super vain reason was the pooch. The C-section mama pooch is a real thing. And the massaging of my scar tissue, doing the breathing exercises drastically helps with that, because I don't want to have that pooch forever. Like that thing is, I'm already overweight post having a baby. Like I don't want to have that too. And I know if I can deal with it, head on right away, it's going to be better than down the road.
Right. Yeah. And the cool thing is learning these exercises, when you engage the right muscles and you get them working correctly, learning to work them correctly, you can literally see your belly flatten as you activate that muscle, which is pretty cool.
The other thing I think was
nice.
really helpful about seeing Laura was one thing I learned post with C-sections is because the way they cut the abs, your upper abs tend to over engage initially, when you're working out postpartum. And so I was actually having weird ab pains in my very top abs. And after really learning that I should be focusing more on my lower abs and building those up, I've made changes in my workouts to where I don't do the full ab workouts where they're like, we're working on your six pack. I don't focus on those. I focus on my low, my TA, and my transverse, I know, abdomen.
Yes.
Anyway,
transverse abdominis, but TA is a lot easier to say.
I focus on those, and I focus on my lower abs, and I don't worry about the top abs because those never got torn apart during my pregnancy. And so if I'm working from the ground up, literally,
really,
the floor up.
Yes, the pelvic floor up. Yeah. Anything you would like to say to women who they might know? Usually we know something is not quite right, but everybody else has it, so it's really not that big of a deal, right? I don't need to really worry about it, right?
We can all jump off the cliff together. Yeah. I think I'm all about peace of mind. So going and just making sure that everything was doing what it's supposed to do. And then learning some exercises just to keep it improving made me feel really good. And it wasn't awkward, and it was enjoyable. It was peaceful, and it was on it, like, the room's really relaxing, the bed's relaxing. So like it was, I can't say it was as, as relaxing as a massage, but it was up there. It was definitely, for a quote unquote medical visit, one of the best.
Glad to hear that.
Not paid.
Yes, this is not a paid advertisement. Anything else that you want to share?
Frankincense oil is good for healing.
Yes, that is true.
Another thing I learned from Laura. That's all I got.
Yes. And I do like to use the essential oils in my room, not only because some of them do have those healing properties. It just is nice to go into a space and it just smells clean, fresh,
authentic.
Relaxing. And I want this to be a safe space where people can come and, even to come for a free consult visit.
Yeah.
Sometimes people go, I don't know about this therapy thing. I'm not sure I want to commit. Great. Come in. Let's just talk. Tell me your story. Let's find out, what's going on with you, and are we a good fit to work with each other?
Right.
And is pelvic floor therapy the right step for you to take next? Is it a good fit for you? And so we talk about that, and it's free of charge. And my hope is that you'll come into the room and feel safe and feel comfortable talking about some very private and embarrassing things. Because let's be honest, talking about this stuff is not easy.
No, it's not. They call it your private parts for a reason, and we've been raised to not talk about them and, obviously not show them off, but, it is an important part of your life. Think of all the movement that goes through that area every day, every time you go to the bathroom, intercourse, there's a lot of stuff that happens there.
Yeah. I like to tell people, if you think about it, your pelvis attaches the entire top half of your body to the entire bottom half of your body. So, if something's going on there, that's going to affect your body probably above and below, right? And so It is really important. I think, especially after having a baby, it's easy to kind of dissociate from it. It's like, there's been too much going on there. I just don't want to deal with it right now. And what I would encourage is if you just kind of have a gut feeling that something's not right, give me a call, give someone a call. I don't really care who you see, but do see someone who specializes in this and who can give you some of that guidance. I'm glad I was able to give you that guidance in, hey, am I healing okay? Or I have this problem. I've had this problem for a year. Nobody seems to know what to do about it. They found out about pelvic floor therapy. Can you help me? Usually, yeah, we can. And would you say it was worth it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it was definitely worth it. I think, like I said, for me, the peace of mind was a huge thing. I don't know why I have such an issue with owning my body postpartum, but knowing I'm slowly working my body back to I can't say original state, but as mint of condition as I can, that feels good and a huge peace of mind and a learning experience. It's like seeing a personal trainer, but it's just working a very specific group of muscles that you don't flex in the mirror.
Right. Yes, they're inside.
Yeah.
And so kind of in a way, it's like working in a dark room. Yeah, because you can't see those muscles. And so it's hard to know what's going on. And, they can be tight and weak at the same time. Yeah, they can be. But that's hard to find out.
Right.
And so just knowing about that, knowing and talking to somebody about, okay, oh wow, we found this problem. What do I do about it beyond just Kegels? Doing Kegels for everything. If you went to a doctor or a therapist for an arm problem, and for every arm problem this person saw, all they did was give you biceps curls to fix it, probably wouldn't be a good doctor or therapist, would it?
Probably not.
No. And that's kind of my soapbox with the Kegels. They're good in their place. Use them if you need them. Use them when you need them. But find out, right, if and how you need them done and how to do them. So, yeah. And I love working with mamas. And, I even have a couple bring their babies in.
Mine would have been a disaster. He's a monster, but that's okay.
That's fine.
He's too mobile.
That's okay. Well, I've had boys, so definitely used to boys, and sometimes treating with a burp cloth over my shoulder. And baby's fussy while mom's learning how to do her exercise. Like, that's okay. I'll hold him or I'll hold her. No problem. And I love it.
Good. Well, that's good to know too.
Yeah. Yes. Well, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
You're welcome
for coming and sharing your story and being brave to do that.
Hey, it's okay.
Saying it as it is because I have a feeling there's at least one person listening to this who's been wondering the same thing.
Yeah, it's not that uncomfortable. It's really not. Mm-hmm. It's worth the pain, which is there's no pain, but the pain is worth the gain. The discomfort for a few minutes of just, putting yourself in a position you're not normally used to being in is totally worth the end result of understanding your body better and healing your body. So thank you, Laura.
You're welcome. Thank you. And I hope to treat and help many, many more people like you. Just get their body back, enjoy, being in the best shape they've ever been and not worried about, am I doing something that's actually going to be harmful down the road? So hoping you get that body back, enjoy it so that you have time to enjoy your family.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. Have the time and energy to enjoy your family. So, all right. Well, if any of you have any questions about this, go ahead and I know there's a section in that area of the podcast. You can write comments. Feel free to email me or shoot a comment to me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook. And my website is www.lauramckeggpt.com. Would love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening. And this is the latest episode of the podcast, Down There. We will see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Go ahead and drop in a comment. Let us know how you liked this last episode. I'd love to hear from you. Do you have any questions? Or do you want to learn more about us? Perhaps you're ready to take the next step? Check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Laura McKegg PT. Or visit our website at www.lauramckeggpt.com to learn even more.